Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending our live virtual information session with Valdez Educational Services. I am John Paul Hernandez, your employer relations specialist for Cal State University San Bernardino, along with Jackie Aguayo, your event coordinator. In a few moments, I'll go ahead and introduce our presenters. First, I'd like to explain some functions available to you during the presentation portion. In the bottom center of the screen, you'll see a Q&A chat option. Feel free to type any questions throughout the presentation via the Q&A chat. We will then address these questions live at the end during the Q&A. The presentation will cover an overview of Valdez Educational Services, tutoring opportunities, and how to apply and, of course, connect. I'd like to now introduce our partners and presenters. We have Aaron Valdez, founder and president of Valdez Educational Services, and Chad Brommer, director. Go ahead and take it away, Aaron.
Thank you, John Paul. I really appreciate you. And thank you, students, for coming to the presentation. This is something that I actually did live with your college last year. I came into your classrooms, so some of you may recognize me. But I'm very excited to hopefully get you guys to become part and tutoring with us. What we do is we provide mentoring and tutoring K through 12 in the San Bernardino City Unified School District. And we either do it in-home, via Zoom. Those are the two options. And we'll talk about that later, but don't worry about the in-home right at this moment. So to give you an overview of the company and what we're looking for, really the biggest prerequisite that I'm looking for, and I'll be one of the reasons that I do these Zoom meetings, I want you guys to hear it from me. The prerequisite that I'm looking for is to have an affinity for children. If you have an affinity for children and it is something that children that you like to work with, this job is a cake job. It's very easy. The academic portion is something that all of you are capable of doing. The biggest thing of what we do is create relationships with the families and the students. Just to give you an idea of the student population, we work with foster, we work with homeless, we work with special ed students, and we work with low-income families in the San Bernardino City Unified School District. So these are the kids that need us the most. And a lot of times it's very hard for the district to get a hold of these families, and that's where we come in. You guys will go through a training via Zoom, and then, well, first you'll go through an interview process, and if you're accepted after the interview process, and this is something that will be fairly quick, then we'll set up the training. After the training, you guys will get fingerprinted, DOJ and FBI, and that is something that we reimburse you for once you begin tutoring in our program. So to give you an idea of exactly what it is, Chad, are you there? Mr. Brammer?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay, I was hoping that you could go over the two programs that we're hiring for and give them the details of that description.
Will do. Well, again, I also want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. I'm very happy to explain our programs, and I'm going to be very specific in terms of what we're looking for and the difference between both programs. But basically, we work with students K through 12 who attend school in San Bernardino City Unified School District. These are students who are struggling. We have two different student populations that we're currently working with. We have the foster youth and homeless population, and we also have students who are basically struggling currently in school, and we've been hired by the special ed department to really gather data on these students to determine whether these students technically should be classified as special ed or not. But both programs, you're going to be working with the students individually, so it is one-on-one tutoring. You're working with one student at a time, and the students receive 3 hours of tutoring per week. So tutoring can take place either in face-to-face in the home, or it can take place via Zoom or any type of virtual meeting. I would say the majority of our students, due to the current conditions of COVID, are receiving virtual tutoring. So you would have to have your own device. You would have to understand how to to use it to provide instruction virtually, which is a little different compared to face-to-face. But the bottom line, we're looking for individuals who have a passion for students, who are good at providing instruction, who can take students who are struggling and really explain things in various manners so that the students are able to basically master the material. So we're looking for people who can work with students, develop a good relationship with these families, and get results. It's a very flexible schedule. Students are tutored 3 times a week, 1 hour per session. The scheduling is very flexible. We have some students who are tutored in the morning, some right after school, some in the evening, some on the weekends. So if you have availability, we can find students who meet your schedule, and vice versa. So again, we're looking for people who are passionate about what they're doing. It's definitely a job for anyone who's interested in becoming a teacher, anyone who enjoys working with students. It's going to give you that experience and that face-to-face instruction that in a very relaxed setting. With our students who we're looking to classify as either special ed or non-special ed, we're using a software program called Let's Go Learn. Students are tested before they begin the program. They're assigned specific lessons based on that assessment. And you're literally working with the students, providing them with support so that they're able to master the material. Again, you would have to be DOJ and FBI background checked and cleared before we put you in front of a student. We will reimburse you for this background check. And again, we hired several students from Cal State San Bernardino last year, and I can say that the students that are currently working for us have been phenomenal. We've had some great tutors that have come from your school, and that's really why we're back here again. Believe it or not, in our years doing this, we find better tutors working with college students than in most cases certified teachers. We find that college students who are working towards education degrees are more passionate about what they're doing. They get more involved with the students. They're not suffering any type of classroom fatigue, and they really go out of their way to help students. So in a nutshell, that's really one of the main reasons we're back. Students from your school have done great jobs, great job with our students. So, Mr. Valdez, am I leaving anything else?
No, just we can't overemphasize the relationship building. And we'll get more into this. If you're invited to come for the interview and you're invited to come to the training, you're going to hear this over and over again. We really want you to throw out the academic portion, because it's the academics. These kids are far below basic. So anything that the students are doing, you'll be able to help them easily. But building the relationship, having that relationship, not just with the student, but with the parent as well, will make your job not only easier, but that's what we're looking for. These students will probably be with us for a number of years. So for example, the students that we hired from Cal State last year, they came back to us this year. They're working with their same students from the year before. And we've had some of our students that have been 3, 4, 5 years in the program. So it is an opportunity to grow with your student. And that's kind of really what it is. A lot of these students disengage if you're going to be the kind of tutor, you sit across the desk and you bark orders, they will disengage from you. But once you build a relationship, and you'll hear Chad and I say it over and over again, the tutoring portion is easy. So don't overthink that portion. Just understand that that's what the prerequisite is of having an affinity for working with children, is because that's exactly what you'll be doing. Excuse me. And some of these children, have had tough upbringings and background. So, you're a light in their life, and you're something that they will look, if you're good at what you do, they will look forward to the tutoring session. They will look forward for you coming. So just keep that in mind. This is the schedule that Chad talks about. You make your own schedule. It's over a 7-day period. So what you do is we assign you the students, and then you contact the families, and then you make your own schedule that works for both you and for the family. And then if you can't come to an agreement on the schedule, then you just let us know. and we'll take that student and reassign you another student. But mostly, I would say 90 to 95% of the time, the scheduling is, they usually work with you very well. So it's something great for college students because it shouldn't interfere with any of your time that you need to devote to Cal State. Yeah. As far as the programs go, Chad talked about the special ed. That's identifying if they're special ed. And then the foster and the homeless program is different. That's just homework help. So you're just helping them with homework, you're helping them with projects, those kinds of things. So they are two different programs. But you can work in both genres. You don't have to just work in one, depending on what you would like for a caseload. And keep in mind, like Chad said, it's 3 hours per week. So you just do it in increments of 3. If you're looking for 20 hours, then that's 7 students. 7 times 3 is 21. So that's how you're going to kind of gauge of what you're doing in terms of your hours and your scheduling. So I think the programs are over. You want to talk about compensation, Chad?
Yes, we pay our tutors $18 per hour. I have seen a couple of questions about whether it's 1099 or employee. It is a 1099 job, so taxes are not withheld. The one thing I do want to point out for our foster youth population, it would be a commitment until June 30th because that program will go until June 30th for the majority of those students. But just generally speaking, if you do end up working with us, you are basically committing to work with your student from start to finish. It's not you're working with a student for a month and then that's the end of your service. No, we're asking, when we go through the whole interview process, that's something very, very particular. We're asking you to commit to the student for the duration of the school year, with the exception being the foster youth students are literally going to be tutored all the way till June 30th. So it is a commitment that we do require of you. But other than that, it's a very easy job. And it's very rewarding because you will see the progress and the impact that you will have on these students. You're with them for 3 hours a week. We can tutor these students even during holidays, during spring break. We can work with them for the first part of the summer, for the most part, through June 30th. Even though school is out, we can still work with these students. And the one thing I can tell you is our program makes a significant impact on learning. Our students have made tremendous progress, and it's really a result. We are pretty particular in terms of who we hire and bring on board, and we're going to talk about that process. I've seen a couple of questions about the interview process. Initially will be a phone call or a Zoom interview, so it won't be a face-to-face initially. And because of COVID, I would say the trainings that we have conducted recently have all been via Zoom. You would have to come in person to pick up your materials. And for those of you who are okay with working face-to-face with students, then we will provide you with materials that will keep you safe. Mr. Valdez will discuss what that really looks like.
Sure. We have a COVID protocol to go into the homes. We have already, it's been cleared through the district. It's been cleared, and we have a waiver. So we give you a shield to put you between you and your student. We give you hand sanitizing wipes. We give you hand sanitizer. What else did I leave out of? And masks. And before you even get there, we've already talked to the families, and they already know what our expectations are in terms of in-home. It has to be a conducive learning environment that's clean, where it's just you and the tutor and the tutor and the student, and of course the families are there, but they're not right next to you. So it's a secluded place somewhat that's been sanitized and clean for the students that choose to go in home as well, or do both. You can do both. You can go in home and Zoom, or you can just do Zoom, or you can just do it home. It is your choice, but we have a waiver for you, and then we have a waiver for the parents. And if at any time, and we haven't had this problem, but I always say this, if at any time you're not comfortable, and this is we're talking about COVID or anything else, then you let us know, and that's it. It's not a big deal. We'll get you out of, if you don't want to go back to the home. But just so you know, we've never had that problem. And usually our parents are very, very happy that you guys are coming to work with their students, because a lot of our families, the parents or the grandparent, or we have a lot of grandparents that are raising their grandkids. So, you know, they don't have the ability to do what you guys can do and help them with school, help them with their academics, help, you know, role model, looking at you and looking at someone that they look like, in other words, that has succeeded and is succeeding. So just keep that in mind. There's no pressure to do anything that you don't want to do, or you can do as much as you want to do. That's kind of our motto. We let you tell us how many hours you want, and then we'll accommodate you with that. But again, we'll get into this in the training and the interview process. But again, if you can build relationships with the kids, the job is cake. It's a really easy job, and you're making a big difference in these kids' lives.
The only thing I want to mention, there's a little bit of paperwork that goes along with the job. After each tutoring session, we do document the session using Google Docs. It's a very short summary. It's something that's shared with the school, with the parent, with the school district. So there's a little bit of admin work to it. It's pretty minimal. For the students who are working on special ed classification, it's literally a weekly checklist that you're checking off. Everything shared via Google Docs. So it's very easy. It's not a large amount of paperwork. You know, you spend your time working with the students, and you know, you're not bogged down in paperwork. Again, it is for our foster youth population, it is literally homework help. For our special ed or special ed determination program, it is a combination of homework help and working on a very specific educational software program that works on foundational skills in math and reading. So that's literally the job. It's homework help across all subject areas and foundational skill building in math and reading. So
I think that's about it, John Paul. We're open to answer any questions. It's a brief summary, but you know, that's basically what it is.
Okay, thank you so much, Aaron and Chad. Great information you just shared with us all. What I'll go ahead and do is start the Q&A process. We'll go ahead and start with questions that have been asked in the chat. I know we did kind of address those as we went through it, but I'll go by a one-on-one. So we have plenty of time to answer all these questions. Continue typing them in the chat, everyone. Really good questions coming out. So we have a question here about, are these jobs only available to San Bernardino students? You know, I have friends at UCR who may be interested in tutoring.
No, they're available to anyone. However, when COVID goes away, we are in other districts. So for example, if we're working in the Riverside district at that time, then I would hire locally in that area. So just keep that in mind, where at some point we're going to get off of COVID and most of the families are going to want face-to-face. Obviously, I don't want somebody driving from Riverside to work in Fontana, or somebody from San Bernardino working in LA. So, but as of right now, yes, you can offer that. And then I will let them know that, you know, if you live far, right now is okay to do it, but you know, it would definitely want to be a district that we're already in.
Definitely, gotcha. We did have a question about 1099. Chad answered that. Yes, it is a 1099 form. The opportunity is open to alumni, anyone that has the qualifications discussed today. Is the interview process done via Zoom or in person? It is, sounds like it's being done via Zoom.
Right.
So, and then again, the option is yours for in-person, Zoom, combination of both.
We have an office in the city, John Paul, just so you know. It's right there on Mountain and 5th Street. That's where our office manager is. And the person that they will liaise mostly will be with our office manager, Mrs. Valdez. She's the one that does all of the tutor timesheets. She takes care of all of the paperwork. She assigns out all of the tutors, and she's the contact for the families. Okay.
Oh, great. What are the subjects on demand for tutoring?
Really, it's ELA, which is reading and math, but we help the students with whatever they want. You know, whatever they need. If they need help doing a project, then we'll help them with that. It's just really whatever they need help with. Nothing specific, unless it's the special ed program. That is specific to the Let's Go Learn software platform. So what happens with there is they take a diagnostic, and then that program assigns them lessons, and you just help them with the lessons. It's very simple.
Great. We have a person here that has worked with you previously. Would they have to redo fingerprints?
No, they do not. Once you fingerprint for us once, you're pretty much fingerprinting for us as long as the company's here.
Okay. When is the start date?
Well, after this, we'll get the resumes and we'll start setting up interviews. I would like to get you guys started hopefully by the first week of February, if I can get enough interviews and those things done. That's why we're doing this before you came back from school, as we have these openings. We have about 200 kids that are on the waiting list. So, the sooner that we can get through this interview process and training, the sooner we can get you out to the field. So to answer your question, ASAP, as soon as possible.
Is there a max to how many children we can tutor?
It's all about time management. So if you're great at time management, I have some tutors that have almost 10 kids. And then I have some tutors that only take 2 or 3. So it's however many hours you're looking for. What I would suggest is to start less of what you're looking for. Let Mrs. Valdez know that you want more, but you're going to schedule everyone first. Because once you get your schedule in place, then you're going to see you may not have the time that you may have thought that you had. Okay, so I'll always add students. What I never want to do, I never want to take away students, especially after you've had a session or 2 with them. So, I have no problem adding students, but again, taking away, that takes away from our program.
Okay. One thing I want to mention, it is a 2-student minimum for this position. We're not looking to hire anyone who's only working 3 hours a week. It's a 6-hour per week minimum. So it's a 2-student minimum.
That's great clarification. So 6-hour total minimum per week, correct?
Per week, correct.
Okay. I think we did touch on what training looked like. It's being conducted virtually right now, correct?
Yeah, and it's about 2 hours. So it's not an all-day thing. And really it's an orientation into the company. I was a ward of the court. So I come from being foster and home in those areas. So I want you guys to know what it is and the type of kids that you're going to be working with. Some of them have no support at home, so you really are a beacon of light in their future. And so I really want to, get that across to you guys. So I don't necessarily want you to think of it as a training. It's an orientation into the company policies and procedures, and then it's expectations for me and Chad of what we're exactly looking for. Okay. Don't overthink the training, in other words.
Okay. Is this for special ed specific educator? I don't think it is, right?
No, not at all. Remember, these kids are not special ed. We're working with the special ed department, but what they hired us to do is to identify if they're going to be special ed or if they need extra help. And the way we're identifying with that is they're doing that Let's Go Learn software platform. So they'll diagnose that themselves. All you're doing is helping with the lesson. The program will let the district know in terms of data if they're going to be classified as special ed or just regular student.
Wonderful. We have another question about a possible returning tutor. Would they resend the resume?
If they're returning, then they've definitely dealt with Mrs. Valdez. So if they don't have the contact information, I guess we're going to put it up after. But Mrs. Valdez we would have all the paperwork. We would have everything. So there would be really no process other than if they've already worked with students, then that means they've already went through the interview, they already went through training. So there's nothing really to do other than let Miss Valdez know that you're coming back. So you can start right away if you've already worked with us and you worked with students. You don't have to go to the training. You don't have to go through the interview process.
Great. I think the remaining questions really have to do with what's next. How do we apply? Do we just send the resume to the email mentioned in the flyer?
Yep.
What do you want to see?
That's it. Just the resume. Chad, myself, and Mrs. Valdez will go through the resumes, and we'll start calling people probably as soon as tomorrow, Chad?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start calling people and setting up interviews for all of next week and try and expedite the process as quickly as possible. So just make sure Mrs. Valdez has your resume to the email that was provided.
That's great.
Very
Okay.
easy process. John Paul, just so you know, it's a very easy process. You know, if you like working with kids, you're gonna love the job. Like, you'll love the job. If you don't like working with kids, then please don't apply. Real simple.
You know, thank you so much, Aaron and Chad, for coming on today. I think it's just a great opportunity to give back. It's very rewarding, especially in these times that we're in right now. You couldn't have said it any simpler. If you enjoy working with kids, you want to help out, this is for you. If not, no need to apply. Thanks for coming. You know, there's plenty of other webinars throughout the year. So, you know, thank you so much for explaining that. Let's see, some more questions coming in. I know some of them are about locations of where to work. Again, Aaron had mentioned eventually we will be going back to working in person. So again, I would apply. They're going to let you know, whether it's virtual, whether they have opportunities in your area. We won't overthink it. The next step is, if you're really interested, send your resume in, and then we'll get you going. We're going to be here, a couple more minutes here. We'll probably give it to about 3:30. If anyone else has any questions, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, we feel confident that everyone will be professional and they can do that. If you don't want to talk, you can go ahead and chat. We're being brave today. We're letting people self-mute themselves. So, 2021, this is our first employer information session. So congratulations on Valdez Educational Services for partnering with us. You are the first of 2021.
Oh, hi, good afternoon. This is Marisol. I just have a question. I know that you said you were very flexible with our schedule, but if we are only available in the weekend, is that something we can do?
Here's the challenge with the weekend. The students have 3 days a week of tutoring. So there's only 2 days on the weekend. And it can't be longer than an hour, the session. Now, some sessions can go an hour and a half, but that's very rare, and that's only for our high school kids. So it's not available K through 8, the hour and a half. But
okay.
Yeah, so it is usually I would say, not a 3-day process. So you would need 3 open days in order to tutor.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I have a question about the fingerprinting.
Sure.
I got fingerprinted about 3 months ago for my emergency teaching permit, and that was done by LiveScan. So I still have the copy of the form from LiveScan. Is that something I can use, or will I have to get fingerprinted again?
So I always get this question. It's a great question. The way LiveScan works, so everyone knows, is if you LiveScan for the district, if you get arrested, they only tell the people that you LiveScan for. So for any job that you'll have where they require a LiveScan, they can never use another LiveScan because we're not a part of that organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but just so you know, as long as you tutor for us, we will reimburse you for your LiveScan, okay? We used to pay for it before, but then we had tutors that never showed up and never came. So we just lost that money. So as long as you work for us and you're coming to tutor, then we will reimburse you that usually within 90 days, right, Chad?
I think we're doing it end of assignment.
Okay. So then that's something that would be reimbursed to you if you're working with the foster on your last check, but if they're working with special ed, that's year round. So
We'd have to figure that out.
yeah, but either way, you will be reimbursed completely for your LiveScan as long as you work for us. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, and also we have a place to go in San Bernardino where they have our account. Mrs. Valdez, I'll have her blast that out to you. You don't have to go there, but from what I've been doing this a long time, and it's the cheapest place I know that does FBI and DOJ, because you need them both, and it's $64. Okay.
Okay.
Great. We have a few more minutes here. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to type in the chat or go ahead and feel free to unmute yourself.
I would rather you guys unmute yourself. I'd like to hear your voices.
So if we already sent in our resume, we just have to, you guys are gonna look all over all of them and then we'll just wait for a phone call.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Mrs. Valdez said if you could resend it, because that lets us know that you came to this training. Because we got resumes before this, or training, this informational blurb. So we got resumes before this, and Mrs. Valdez had directed everyone that sent resumes that they need to be a part of the Zoom meeting. So if you resend it and just say, hey, I attended the meeting, no, you know, just let her know. Okay,
Okay, yeah, I'll resend it. Thank you.
no problem.
Great. Well, we're waiting for a few more people to maybe ask some questions. I'm going to go ahead and just break in real quick. Let everyone know that, again, this is our first information session, one of many this year. The next coming events on February 2nd, we will have an information session with the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. You just go into your Handshake account via your Coyote and register for that. The link will be up shortly. And then also on February 11th from 1 to 4, we have our Spring 2021 Virtual Career Fair that will be live. And again, go into your Coyote, into Handshake, and go ahead and feel free to register for that. I'll throw that link into the chat for everyone. And those are our upcoming events. And then, of course, you'll be getting email blasts from us anytime we have information sessions. So with that, does anyone else have any further questions? Okay, well, most importantly, you have the email address. Send your resume. If you have more questions, you can always email the Career Center or Valdez direct. I want to thank everyone for attending today's employer info session with Valdez Educational Services. The presentation and recording will be available and shared following the end of this event. So if those that registered and weren't able to attend, they'll actually get a copy of this. And then if you were here, you'll be able to hear this again if you want to go ahead and listen. Up on the screen right there, you'll see there's a little QR code. If you don't mind grabbing that and giving us some feedback about today's event so we can make sure that we're giving you the best content possible. And that's a QR code there, so you can go ahead and scan that with your phone. There's our contact information, Career Center, CSUSB_CC. Make sure you follow us on social media. This year, we're going to be doing some employer hacks. That's where an employer will actually come onto our social media platform and share tips and videos. So we'll be very interactive. Hang in there, everyone. You know, hopefully we'll be back in the fall in person. But you know what? We've been doing a pretty good job with the virtual activity. So keep it up, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy. And thank you again, Aaron and Chad. And we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thank you. We appreciate you, John Paul. You too, Jackie. Thank you so much.